So you wanna be a picture book writer, then you gotta write picture books. And you're gonna need a bucket load of bright ideas for titles, plots, and hooks. If you're partial to prose or you're raring to rhyme, then repeat after me. It's a challenge, but I'm gonna tackle each story 1 month at a time with 12 by 12.
Let me ask you, why do you think publishing is so slow these days?
It is from literally from agent to publishing house. Even authors are, I think, feeling this, but I don't want to keep blaming the pandemic as post-pandemic or coming out of it, trying to find balance from it. But I think generally everyone right now is overworked. We are balancing so many facets of our life that so for example, I talked to some of these editors, and not only are they acquiring their own lists, but they're also assisting other editors, or they're doing other things for the imprint. I know of agents who do double jobs within just the agency. So they not only are they acquiring for their own clients, but they are helping other agents as well as the not the imprint, sorry, the agency itself do overhead stuff. Like me, I have a second job. So agenting is my passion job. This is the job that I will do until I am dead. I can no longer read. And I have my main job as a way to be able to do this because I love this so much. And right now, there's a lot of submissions. I've been closed for 2 years, 2.5 years, but I still have about, and this is bad, but there's still 100 queries in my inbox that I need to get to, and it's because I'm juggling multiple clients. I'm trying to get to my query box. I have my first job. I'm a mother, so and then I also have my own personal pursuits too. So it's really this balancing game that we're trying to have a better work-life balance, as well as for me, I'm very intentional in the authors I work with. So it's not so much that I don't want to respond to queries or I don't want to get to every single one right when they come into my inbox. It's just that I'm very intentional with my time, and I'm intentional with the clients that I'm working with, what I'm doing for them. I'm very in the moment rather than just scatterbrained and only giving 25% to everyone. So when I respond to queries, I try to give a little bit more than just saying it's a pass. So very intentional with the time. I would say that's why it's low. Lots of juggling, lots to do.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, that juggling and that multiple jobs and parenting and so on will sound very familiar. And are you finding too that when you submit on behalf of your clients to editors, that that's also very slow? And
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
is there a lot, is it, are there more like no responses even from editors to agents?
I would say that it's been better this year in terms of
Mm.
even getting a, hey, I got your email. I'm going to get to this when I can. Though their response has been about 3+ months out. So when I send them my work, they say, I'm about 3 months behind on reading. So I'll get to this in a few months. Feel free to ping me. I would say last year, I was rarely getting even confirmation of receipt, much less a pass on works. So it's getting better. I think people are getting more focused in on how to better manage their time and allow for those kind of gracious notes to say, hey, I got this. But yeah, it's slowly catering to a more open communication, transparency.
That's great. That's great news. See? We we always want to look at the possibilities of positives. And also, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for being a 12 by 12 featured agent, because I know that's a commitment when you're closed to queries to accept queries from us. So we really appreciate that. I wondered if you have had some examples of recently published books that you think fit that, whether they're your clients or just any books.
So for me, this is actually a really great. So my range of books is all over the place. I go from, I'm really, really seeking books that are from underrepresented voices. I want cultural experiences. I want unique celebrations on the page. I want kids to feel recognized and celebrated. But I also just want fun and silly. So the range of books, just to kind of get an idea from it, is there's a book called Fish and Crab. I should have grabbed it. But Fish and Crab is literally about a fish and a crab who have a hard time sleeping. So fish just bugs crab all night long with all these different worries. And then crab's like, okay, you can tell me all your worries. And at the end, fish is like, you know what? I feel good. I'm ready for sleep. And at the end, crab is now the one that's like, oh, now I have all these worries before bed. And it's so fun and so playful. And that author did a magnificent job of just using text to progress the story. There is no extra text to try to set up the page or the scene or the art. It just is, and it propels the story forward. My kid was cracking up the entire time, and at the very end, he's like, "Oh, not again!" And so those kind of reactions are adorable, and those are the books we want to create. On the other end is the book Big, which just won, I believe, a Caldecott Award.
Yeah.
And that one is exploring the emotional world from, so it says here, emotional exploration of being big in a world that prizes small is a tender portrayal of how you can stand out and feel invisible at the same time. Like anything that really gives validation to kids in their journey. As adults, we're like, well, that's not a big deal. But to kids, it is their world. When something happens that's could be small and hurtful that we think, okay, you'll get over this in a day or two. It's their world is falling apart. Their foundation is lost. So anything that really explores the emotional experiences of a child validates it and honors it without poking fun or diminishing that experience. I think anything like that is beautiful. So from one end, Fish and Crab, to the bigger end as with Big. One thing I want to know when it comes to picture books with humor, if it's just humor for humor's sake, I know that there's slapstick is kind of a hard sell. But if you can take something and make it even like punny, that's even better. There's a book that's coming out. The title eludes me, but it has something to do about iceberg lettuce. So it's this iceberg that there's only so much shown above, but there's bigger emotions below. And it's a play off of iceberg, but it's a lettuce with bigger feelings. So just the idea of iceberg lettuce, but so
I can't help it. I'm
so
like, I
anything
love it
silly like that.
already.
Yeah, I think that comes out like in a year or two. And it's a fantastic spin off of a perfect blend of humor, but also emotional exploration. So that's probably why I really like the concept of it.
Right. Humor and heart. Okay, so you talked about how when you see a great hook and you can envision the illustrations and so on. I'm thinking specifically about like when you're reading a query, have you ever rejected and or the reverse accepted a book solely on its pitch or premise?
So in terms of rejection, I have based on just the pitch, and it's a lot of the time it has to do with that I have a client who has written a work too similar to it or is writing. So in terms of, while I love puns, while I love silly, and while I would love to sell all the silly punny books out there, it becomes a matter of market saturation for my client list. It becomes competition. So there are only so many editors out there that are looking for punny books. And if I have a client who I'm already pitching work out there, that means that I am pitching two very similar works to the same set of editors. And it would not be fair to either clients at that point. So there have been times I've received a work and I said, I really love this. This is like right in my ballpark. You made me laugh. There's a lot of great connection here. But my client just gave me a work too similar to this. And for that, I have to pass. Like, I wish I could acquire this. Obviously, I love it because I have a client who writes similar works to this, but I can't, just in good consciousness and also just ethical. It's just not fair for that other. So I've had to sadly pass and let them know that I can't wait to see your book out there and read it to my kid 100 times, but I just can't do that. In terms of, I guess, representing a book just on the premise, I would say I have never done that. The premise is there, or the pitch or the query is there really to hook the reader. It's your pages that sell. So I know we spend a lot of time on writing and perfecting our query, but really that's just the teaser. You want just enough in there to make us go, oh, that sounds really interesting. Stop reading your query altogether and just jump right into the pages. So again, it's the teaser. It's the one that makes us go, oh, okay, I want to get into your book and see what it's about. And then your pages are what sells it. So spend more time on editing your work rather than worrying too much about the pitch.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Do it together so never you fear. It's a handy little way to help you kick into gear. You're amazing, exciting. Look out, 'cause you're writing 12 by 12.
12 manuscripts.
12 by 12.
12 picture books.
12 by 12 this year.